and welcome to all of you. We're glad you're here. This is an important field day because this center, among all others that we have within IFAS, this is where the industry and the faculty, the staff, the students really interact almost on a daily basis. I hear from you that this is your center. I wish I heard that at every one of our centers. This is our center, but clearly you believe what is going on here. You have supported it in many ways, not just financially, but with great advice as well. And so I just want to really thank all of you for being a part of this team. It's clearly a team effort. I think we've benefited from this, but when we benefit, what that results in is our ability to serve you better than we have in the past. I made it clear when I came to Florida that which was just a little over 2 years ago now, that our main job is to help keep you in business. You are all businesses, and we talk a lot about, and I'm going to talk later about ecosystem services, good environmental stewardship, but if you go out of business, then things get much worse. It doesn't matter. All those other things do not matter if you are out of business. So our main job is to help you find a way to remain profitable so that you can keep doing all of the good things that you are doing. So again, thank you for being part of this team. It's really it's a very gratifying effort that we have underway here. I also want to thank Brent Sellers for being such a great director of this station. But Brent, wherever you went, thank you also for your efforts during the last hurricane. There was an awful lot of damage here, and I know some of you in here also came to the rescue of this center to help get it back on its feet sooner rather than later. And so it sure looked a lot different just a couple of months ago here, and I was, frankly, there's been more progress here than I really expected to see. Brent told me that they're about 90% back to normal now in taking care of the facilities. So we're very pleased with our rate of recovery. I'll be at your convention in Marco Island in June. But one of the things there I did want to thank you for there too is working with our students, the collegiate cattlewomen, as well as Black and Bridal. You invite them there, they take notes for you, they're on your committees, but that's really invaluable to them. These are the future people of your industry. They want to go back and do the things that you're doing. And having them there, interacting with you, seeing what you worry about, seeing where your opportunities are, it's really just good for these young people to help get them ready to enter your profession. So, Cliff, for the statewide organization, I'm really pleased that you're so well integrated in with our student body. Did want to give you a little update on a couple things going on at the university, if you'll bear with me for a couple minutes. We have a new president. You may have heard is former Senator Ben Sasse. He was a U.S. Senator from Nebraska. He was not looking to leave the Senate, but our Board of Trustees chair made an offer he couldn't refuse, apparently, and he is here with us now. Ben understands agriculture. He grew up, he has lived, and he has supported an agricultural state. So I think he knows your industry well, but he does not know Florida agriculture particularly well. He's never seen an orange in the field before, for example, or a strawberry, or a pomegranate, or vanilla down in Homestead. So we have a lot of education to do. I've got him committed to doing an agricultural tour every year. Our first tour will be on June 2nd. June 2nd of this year. We're going to put him on a plane and fly him around the state. We'll make sure he gets to see some cattle on a ranch while we're all going through this. But I want to make sure that he understands that we are not Nebraska. We are a very, very different state, much more diverse than probably he can even imagine. I know I certainly couldn't have imagined the diversity before I moved to Florida. But he'll be a good president for us. He believes in the land-grant mission. He believes in the university being relevant to the state. And one of the things he says on a regular basis, he talks about extension a lot. He loves extension. He says that is the model for the rest of the university, that he wants to make sure not just agriculture and natural resources or environmental quality, all the things that we do, or ranches or forestry or fisheries, but he wants the music department and the School of Business to be in every county. That's not my phone, sorry. He wants the rest of the colleges to be in every county, so that when a K through 12 program wants a little more music education, University of Florida will be there to help him with that. So I'm really happy that Ben Sass is here. He's off to a very good start. He's learning, and he's a very bright guy. He's learning a lot about the university quickly. But let's make sure, if you get the opportunity, such as if we are in your area and we're hosting the president, please come out and join us. We'll make sure you know we're coming. We're going to have Ben Albritton with us, and probably Wilton Simpson, and maybe a couple others on the House side who will be on this tour, and it'll be a great opportunity for our president and the political leadership of this state to get to know each other better. So it actually is going to have a lot of benefits for agriculture and ranching in Florida. Just for the last 2 days, or last 2 days before that, I was at an artificial intelligence conference in Orlando. This may be something that a lot of you don't really think much about, even though if you have Siri on your phone or in your car, you're already dealing with artificial intelligence. You just don't know it yet. But this is something that's going to change our industry in a very profound way. It's very much the fourth generational change that will come to our industry. Some of the past being fertilizers and mechanization and GMO products was the third one. But data understanding and data management is going to be the next thing to change our industry. And so there will be cameras at various places on your farm monitoring your animals. So if there's a single animal is sick or lame or has other behavioral issues, we'll be able to pick that up very quickly, and that will then alert the farmer. That gives us much more individual control over animals. It's going to be important for feed. It's going to be important for forward marketing and trading. It's one of those industries that it's a little hard to see right now exactly where it's going to go, because we're literally in the middle of this. But I'm convinced that it's going to have a huge impact on everything that we do. At that conference, we had Chris Malachowski there. Chris is he started the company called NVIDIA. They're the largest producer of computer chips in the world right now that goes into artificial intelligence computers. So he's a multi-billionaire. He actually invented the technology and started the company. But he sees, and he said this at the meeting, that agriculture is the next place that AI can make a huge difference. And one of the ways why it's going to be so important is right now, information is a premium, information is knowledge, information is profit. And if you're a huge producer and you've got access to that type of information, it costs money to get it now, and you have access then to humans to help decipher that information and use it to make decisions, it's a great deal. But most of us can't do that. We don't have access to that. But soon you will have on your phone access to all of the information that exists in the world on that topic, as well as artificial intelligence, and making some sense out of that and giving you a recommendation about what you ought to be doing next. Like, when do we spray in our field, for instance? That's actually a pretty complicated question in a lot of ways, but AI will be able to answer that in a much more certain way than any of us can do using our best efforts right now. So that is one of those things that is happening. I guess a lot of us don't see it in our daily lives yet, although it's working behind the scenes. But it's going to be in front of you here very soon and very regularly. So just be open to that. The best place to start it's called ChatGPT. I don't know if any of you have heard of this, but if you just type in a Google search, ChatGPT, you can go register and you can start asking the computer questions. Our students are doing it already because they're writing term papers using ChatGPT. It's hard to catch that because every one of those papers is original material. It's not a fakery. It's not a forgery. It's an original paper, but written by the computer, and it's actually a pretty good paper. So academically, in high school and in college, we're trying to figure out how to deal with all of this. But it's really a fabulous technology. I'll just give you one quick funny story. When I first started to play around with this about a month ago, it went into ChatGPT, and the first thing it says is, you have 8 free questions to ask me. And I thought, well, I'm smarter than artificial intelligence. My first question was, how can I get more than 8 questions? And it came back immediately, said, I don't know, but now you only have 7 questions left. That's a true story. And so they're building a little bit of sense of humor into artificial intelligence too. But play around with it. It's really amazing what what it will do for you. And it's a whole brave new world out there as a result of this. And it's just starting. That's the really cool part. We've all seen Terminator movies, and we know how all this ends. Skynet kills us all in the end, which is AI driven. But I think we got 100 good years of working friendly with AI before we have to face that. So it's really it's life-changing technology, and just keep your mind and your hearts open to it as you start to see this becoming part of your life. We continue to work very quickly and heavily in our nutrient management areas. Talking to David earlier. We've been funded very generously by the state of Florida to redo a lot of our fertilizer rates. I think we all know that many of them are wrong. I'm sorry, they're not wrong, they're just old. When they were developed, maybe 30, 40 years ago, they were right then. But yield goals have changed, cultivation practices have changed, and so they're not right anymore. And so we're getting that fixed. We're working on potatoes and tomatoes and sweet corn and citrus, and we're going to start sod here pretty soon as one of the next crops that will be up for evaluation. But you're going to see some changes there as well, and I think it's going to give us as an agricultural community better data to stand on as we try to argue in Tallahassee for what we need or what we don't know, or regulations that are helpful or harmful. You always need to have good data that you can stand on if you're going to try to push back on something that might be happening in Tallahassee. And right now we're a little weak in some of that data. We're having a really good year in Tallahassee right now. I've been obviously with Senator Albritton, Commissioner Simpson now. We've got some great leadership for the things that we do in Tallahassee. As we were talking about earlier, I think we got a couple good years with leadership that understand our businesses. 10 years from now, we may not. We could have people who are, all from Miami or all from Orlando and may have never been on a farm. So we've got a lot of things that we need to be doing collectively to shore up our industries and get ready for that day when maybe we have leaders who don't understand what we do. But we've got the right leadership now. Our funding will be strong. We did lose one of our budget requests this year, and that's what we call ecosystem services. It was funded last year. It just, for political reasons, it did not make it through the process this year. We'll be back next year trying to get it done. But this is one of those things I think is really important. As all of you know, you're in a tough business right now. It's hard to make money. You don't control prices for the most part. You can control input costs, and there are some things where you can affect your bottom line, but that top line of what you sell your products for is out of your control. So one of the things I think that is going to be a big part of our future is payment for ecosystem services. We have been as an industry, and particularly in your industry with cattle, you've been cleaning the water for decades. You've been sequestering carbon in soil. You've been providing wildlife habitat. There's a nice poster in the back there about bird species richness in grazing areas. Mentioned wildlife habitat. There's a couple other things. Bee pollinators is one I heard about just yesterday. These are all things that we do for the state of Florida, but we do it for free. And there's no other industry in this country that does all of those things for free and is not rewarded for it. I don't know why we felt, we understand the environment, we protect the environment, we believe in what we do. That's all great, but you should be paid for it too. And so the USDA is working very fast right now to find ways to pay for carbon sequestration in soil. I'd like to see some of those other services, clean water, clean air, wildlife habitat, pollinators. These are all things that the 98% of Florida, population of Florida that's not in farming is asking for. We're giving it to them, but they should pay for it. So ecosystem services, that was a grant that would have allowed us to find a way to monetize those services and provide funding back to you as supplement for your income. I'm convinced at the federal level and hopefully at the state level someday, and I would say sooner rather than later, this is something that's going to be affecting your bottom line because it will be providing payments to you for the things that you've been doing for a long time anyway. I guess that's about it. As I said, Florida is a fascinating state. It's complicated in more ways than are imaginable, whether it's people or environment or water or things that we grow or climate. It's just always changing, and it's always, it's always moving. So I don't think there's any state in the country that is more complicated than Florida to be in your business. But that also has some advantages too. It's when you're in the Midwest, it's wheat and corn and soybeans and maybe some hogs, and that's about it. And when one of those markets is down, you're just out of luck. Here because there's so much flexibility within Florida that individually it may be a problem, but collectively as a state, the state will remain strong. My biggest worry, obviously, and probably your biggest worry too, is urbanization and growth in Florida. That's not going to stop. By the way, it's now over 1,000 people a day. I've recently heard 1,200 people a day are moving into Florida. That's a big-sized town moving to Florida every year. And where are they going? They're still living mostly along the coast in Orlando, but at some point they're going to have to start moving in from the coast, and that's going to just exasperate the problems that we face trying to remain in business. So I guess that's it. Thanks again for being here. Thanks for doing what you're doing, and good luck.